In this section, we're going to go over the Just Listed campaign, or how to run a Just Listed campaign using Facebook ads. Now recall, a Just Listed campaign, you already know what this is in the offline mode, where you would market a listing that has just come onto the market. A few variations of that might be a coming soon campaign or a recently sold campaign. Now in the old ways of doing it, what we might have done is put a postcard together and send that postcard to a particular farm or to a particular area that we would like that market that listing to, or the status of that listing to. In using the online method, what we're going to do is we have a few prerequisites, right? So we have to have a property landing page online on a website. I'm going to show you an example of what one looks like and what is necessary on that page for it to work really well. And then, instead of using a postcard or things of that type of media, we're going to use Facebook ads to bring traffic, online traffic, to that property landing page. Now, the traffic that we're going to bring from Facebook to that property landing page are people who meet very specific criteria. We call that targeting, right? When we find a specific person on Facebook, or a specific type of person on Facebook, or somebody who meets specific criteria on Facebook, what we say is that we're targeting that audience, or we're targeting that type of individual. And so through targeting, we're going to find people who are in the market to purchase real estate. So what we're looking for people who are in the market to be customers for us, because that's why we want to market that listing. Now, I'm going to create an audience for people who are home buyers, but you could just as easily create a separate audience for home sellers who live in a particular area, because those are also people who you would want to have knowing that you're the person who does business in their area. Okay, well, let's take a look at what a property landing page is and some of the details. Like I said, this is a necessary prerequisite if you're going to do a Just Listed campaign on Facebook, is we have to have a destination. We have to have somewhere to take them, where they'll be able to learn more about the property, where they're going to be able to make inquiries about the property by reaching out to us if they have any questions. So if you look at my screen here, I've got a website. This is one of the websites that's included if you are a paperless agent member of our marketing and technology club. Everybody receives what we refer to as an agent ID site. You're looking at the agent ID site here on my screen. I'll just show you a really quick overview. So it has a nice basic profile page. We automatically post content for you once a month on your blog. And then you also have the opportunity to add listings so that you can run these Just Listed campaigns. You can see on my listings page here, I've got two. I've got one for 3521 Marseille Court and one for 16513 Jackson Street. Let's take a look at one of these and see what it looks like. So you can see this property landing page. Here's the detail. For us, the format that I like to use is having lots of really big images of the property. So you can see, you can scroll through this particular property landing page. You can see little thumbnails of it. We've got details about the property listed below. We also have a description of the property included on here, as well as a map. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's important on a property landing page to make sure that we have the right search engine optimization mechanics in place. Now, why would that be important? Well, when you are running a Just Listed campaign, although we're going to go out to Facebook and bring people to the site, if we do this right, and we do this in a timely manner, and if we take care of the right little techniques in creating the web page, we can increase the likelihood that our property landing page will get found on Google when someone searches that address. Now, who would be searching for the address of one of our listings? There are two people who primarily would do that. One is the seller, right? So the home seller whose home you're selling is a person who will probably, very likely, search for their own home address to see what kind of marketing is being done. And it is good for us to be able to have our own website if we can show up. Now, this isn't a guarantee that Google's going to find it, but by taking care of some of these steps, we can increase the chances. Now, I said there were two people. The other person who's going to look up the address in some search engine, whether it be Google or another one, is the serious home buyer, the person who's really interested in that particular property, who's just wanting to get as much information about that property as they possibly can. You know, they might be sitting there at the front door, or at the front of the yard with their mobile device, searching for that property. So those are the two people who are going to seriously search for the address. Now, here's some of the things that we want to do. Now, some of this is going to be a little bit sound technical, but I think it is important enough for me to address and let you know that there are things to take care of. You can also do some additional research on steps to take for search engine optimization. If you're a member of the Paperless Agent Coaching Club, we have a lot of information on how to do search engine mechanics and search engine optimization within the archived areas. So one of the first things that we want to make sure that we take care of is make sure that the title of the page contains the entire address of the property. The title of the web page has the complete address of the property. We also want to make sure that if you're using like an H1 tag, meaning that the headline of your web page for this website would also include the full address of the property. So on my screen here, you can see where it shows up here. This is the title as well as the H1 tag, or you see the title up here in the tab up top. You see the H1 tag includes the full address. And so we want to make sure that the address is being repeated. Now, why do we do that? What we're trying to tell Google is this page is about this address. Now, you don't have to do what we call keyword stuffing, which means you're going to stuff that keyword or that address all over the page. We just need to make sure it's in the right places. So in the title, in the H1 tag, and there's another place where we want to include it, which is in the name and alt tags for each one of the photos that we've uploaded and placed on this page. What that's going to do when the search engine indexes your page, it's going to look at the different types of content on there. And when it sees there's images about that property, about that address, it is going to put heavier weight because of the rich media format that it's seeing that is on the page, and therefore, oh, this, the way it, what the recognition that it's making is, oh, there's more information about this particular topic here on this page. In this case, it's in the form of photos. So the more photos that you upload that have the property address with maybe, a little dash kitchen, dash living room, so that you have a little bit of a distinction between what the photos are, that's an important one. Now, if you're using the Paperless Agent website, when you upload photos, we automatically name those photos appropriately for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So having the name and the alt tag of the photos is important. Another thing is wherever you can is to make sure that you've got supportive information. You might be dropping a property tour video on this page. What I recommend is if you're going to use video, embed that, upload that to YouTube, embed that onto that YouTube video onto your page, and make sure that address is in the name of that video. Same thing by dropping a map here. That's also going to give recognition to Google that this is an authority, or a more likely authority, because of just the sheer quantity of information about this topic. So once we have our property landing page in place, what we can do is we're going to bring traffic from Facebook, very specific type of traffic, right? People who are in the market to buy or sell homes, and we're going to bring them to this property landing page. So what I'm going to cover next is how do we go into Facebook and create an advertisement designed to bring people to visit this page. Now that we've set up our property landing page, what we can do is create the advertisement in Facebook to make or to bring people to visit our site. Now, like I mentioned before, we're going to be choosing a very specific group of people. It's people in the market for buying this home, and we're going to bring them to that property landing page on our website. So to do this, we're going to go into the Facebook advertising platform, and to get to the Facebook advertising platform, recall that you're just going to go to facebook.com/ads/manage, and what that's going to do is that will bring you to a page that looks like this. From here, we're going to go drill down and use a very specific tool for creating ads. It's called the Facebook Power Editor tool. So to access the Power Editor tool, recall at the top left portion of the screen where it says Ads Manager, we're going to drop down to Power Editor, and what that's going to do is it's going to open up the Power Editor tool so that we can start using it to build a campaign. All right, now that we're in the Power Editor tool, what we're going to do is we're going to begin the process of creating a campaign. So to create a campaign, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that there's a Create Campaign button. We're just going to click on Create Campaign, and what it's going to do there is it's going to have us select the marketing objective. Now our objective here is to send people to the website, to our website. So you can leave it selected if it's already selected for you. But you can see there's a whole bunch of other types of objectives under the awareness category, the consideration category, and the conversion category. Everything from boosting a post to getting page likes to getting video views, or even getting people to claim an offer or engage an app if we have an app. So we are going to use, though, for our just listed campaign, and this would be the same if you're using it for a coming soon or if you're using this for a recently sold campaign. But what we're going to do is use the send people to your website, and then we're going to give this campaign a name. I'm going to go ahead and name it here. My naming convention that I like to use is to say the name of the business that's running the ad. In our case, it's GLR, stands for Good Life Realty. I like to include the campaign objective, which in this case is clicks. And then what I'll do is describe the campaign type. This is a just listed. And then I want to give some more detailed information about the property. So let's go ahead. I have this other property that I'm going to use to create our campaign. It's that one on 3521 Marseille Court. Let me go ahead and pull that up so that I can easily start copying and pasting some of the information. I'm just going to paste the address then into the name of the campaign. So it's GLR clicks just started, or just listed, and then 3521 Marseille Court. So this way, when I'm going back and looking and reviewing the information in the reports, I'll easily be able to see what this campaign, what the objective is, what type of campaign it is, it's a just listed, and for which property. So then I can click on continue. Now what it's going to have me do is create the ad set that will exist within that campaign. So that first step that we did was created the campaign where we set the objective. Now we can create one or more ad sets. Now recall, the ad set is where we're going to specify the audience of who this ad should get in front of. So let's go ahead and start that process of choosing who the ad is going to get in front of. What I would like to be able to do here is market this to people who are potential buyers for this property. So under locations, I want to market to everybody in this location. You could restrict it to who live in this location or recently in this location or traveling in this location. I'm going to have everyone in this location because a lot of people come to Austin and they might be candidates for this property. They may not live in this particular area but wanting to move to this area. So what I need to do, though, once I've selected the type of person in the location, is actually to list the location itself. By default, it says United States here. I'm going to go ahead and change it to Austin, Texas. Once I've set it to Austin, Texas, you can see that you can change the radius. I'm going to leave it at 25. What you're going to do is you're going to want to set it to what makes most sense for you in the geographic or in the marketplace that you're in. So I'm going to leave it at 25 miles. From there, what I can do, if I scroll down a little bit, is I get to choose the age and gender. So I can change, normally when I would click on this, a drop-down box would change the age, but for some reason there's a little bug. I think they've been working on updating Power Editor. So when I'm clicking on it, it's not making the change. But for my area in Austin, Texas, the bottom age range is about 27 years old. So I would normally change this to 27 years old, and that would leave the upper age range to 65 plus. Again, what you're going to do here is choose the age range that makes most sense for the person or the people who would be interested in buying the home that you're marketing. Facebook is also pretty good at optimizing this, so if you just exclude the people who you definitely don't want, then that usually suffices to say, well, give Facebook a good enough indicator of who to put this ad in front of. So I really, what I've noticed for us is that people under a certain age typically really aren't in the market to purchase a home. There are some rare anomalies, but by and large, people are starting at around 27 and up, and it's that's really the earliest starting point in our area. That might be different for you. Gender, we're going to leave it as all. You could specify a language. I'm not going to specify a language because I want people who speak all languages to be able to see this advertisement. But now we're going to get into the really cool portion of Power Editor where we get to choose the detailed targeting of who we want this ad to get in front of. So to do that, what I'm going to do is come over here, and we can change this to browse. You could see the ones that I've recently used. You could see ones that are suggested. You could also just start typing in if you know what category you're already looking for. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to target the likely to move category. specifically the likely to move category under the behaviors. There's another way to do this though, and I always encourage people to go check their browse through and see what types of categories are available. So if you click on browse, what you're going to see is there are demographics, interests, behaviors, and more categories. Under demographics, you have things like education, ethnic affinity, financial, which includes things like income and various income brackets. More on that in a moment. You can do things like generational if you wanted to market to a specific generation like baby boomers, Generation X, millennials. Under the home category, you have the home ownership type, whether they are homeowner or a first-time home buyer or renters. This homeowner category becomes very important, very relevant if you are marketing to home sellers or potential home sellers or even doing lead generation for home sellers. You have other things too if you were to create campaigns around various life events like somebody who recently got engaged, recently got married, recently moved, upcoming birthday. We also have parents, so people who are new parents, so you're able to categorize people who have kids of certain age ranges, right? So we have parents there. So that's all under demographics. Interests, there's a tremendous amount of interest. I usually don't use interests except for people who are real estate investing. Those are the only types of campaigns that I would use the interests. Outside of that, I use the behaviors one a lot. So under behaviors, you can see that if you scroll down, there's this one called residential profiles. Under there, you can target people based on how long they've lived in their home. You can also use the likely to move category, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and select that. All right. And so that's all very helpful information. All right, so I've selected the likely to move. Now, let's take a look at how many people then are in the Austin area who Facebook has deemed is likely to move. So off to the right-hand side, we can see that that's 54,000 people. You know, that seems like a lot of people, and I think what I would like to do is to narrow this down a little bit more. I don't believe that there's 50,000 people actively in the market in the Austin area buying homes. Now, that it could be, but I think I'd like to put some criteria on there to narrow that audience down just a little bit. So if I want to narrow the audience down, I just click on Narrow Audience, which is right below the detailed targeting section. And what this is going to do is say, I want people who are likely to move and meet these additional criteria. If I were to put them all in that same box as likely to move, it would be people who are likely to move or meet these other criteria. So what we're trying to do is to narrow the audience, not expand the audience. So important to use the narrow people. And what we're going to do is I am going to use the income category from the demographics section to zero in on people who I believe would be able to qualify for a home in the Austin area and in the market. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to start checking off all these income brackets. Okay. And adding them to the category of who I'm trying to limit, who are going to see this at. For me, the bottom range is $40,000, so let me unselect that $30,000 to $40,000. And I'm going to choose everybody who in the Austin area makes $40,000 or more is going to be a candidate for seeing my advertisement. Okay. And let's see if I can clean up my screen here. It's looking a little messy. Okay. Let me see if I've done that right. So yeah, I have the detailed targeting to include people who make a certain income category, basically anything over $40,000, and then also people who are likely to move. Now that took that number, I believe it was 50-some thousand. Now you can see that the potential reach is 19,000. That seems more to be accurate of people in the market in the Austin area who would be looking for homes. So I'm going to leave it as that for this buyer group, people who I want to connect to who are buyers. Now under the connections tab, or under the connections drop down, I guess that's to call it, there are ways, it's not pulling up, like I mentioned, this seems like it's a little buggy right now, but normally it would pull up and allow me to choose whether I wanted to only run this ad in front of people who are fans of my Facebook business page, or exclude those people, or include friends of those folks. Because I'm really just trying to focus on people who are in the market, I'm not going to choose a connection type for this campaign. Now, a huge time saver when you're doing this in the future is to save this audience. So just click the Save Audience tab, and what I can say is this is Austin buyers 40K plus. And what that's going to do is when I save this audience, in the future I'll be able to come back, and when I create a campaign, when you scroll at the top, in the future you'll be able to just use this where it says new audience, there's a little drop down. You could just choose the new audience or the audience that we've created, and you see I have a bunch of them in here from prior campaigns that we run, and I'll be able to save time not having to go through and make all that selection because I can just use a saved audience. So that's what saving this audience, and the tip is just make sure that the audience name is very descriptive so that when you're going back to select it in the future, you'll know exactly what it is. From here, we can start, we have the option to choose placements. Now, one of the newer features is that Facebook now allows us to just have automatic placements, and they will determine the best place to show your ads. What are some of those placements? We've got on Facebook, we've got in the news feed on the right column, we've got on Instagram and the audience network. Here's what I'm doing now is that I'm just leaving it to be automatic placements because I find that Facebook is getting really good at determining who and where I need to place the ad to get the result that I'm looking for. So I'm going to encourage you guys to use the automatic placements unless you have a reason why you wanted to exclude a certain placement. Let's say you absolutely don't want your ads to show up in Instagram for whatever reason. I don't know why that would be, but let's say you don't want it to show up there. So then you might exclude, you would use the edit placements and exclude Instagram. One of the places where in the past I used to not do the right column placements because I always found that that didn't work as well, so well for what I was trying to accomplish. But I think with the automatic placements, what I found is that Facebook has also found that those ads don't work for me so well, so they don't really push it to the right column ads. They push it into the areas where it's most effective because Facebook does want us to get a good result. They also don't want to waste their ad inventory putting ineffective ads in front of their audience, and so they're also incentivized to put the ads in front of the people who are most likely to respond to, who want to see them. So the automatic placements is what's recommended and what I would recommend that you do as well. From here we can choose a budget and schedule. So recall, we're in the ad set, we've already created the campaign, we're in the ad set, we're selecting who we want this ad to get in front of, and now we need to choose how much money we want to spend and how long we want to spend that money. You can choose between a daily budget or a lifetime budget. Right now, it seems like the drop-down boxes are not working on Power Editor for me, but that's okay. You can choose between daily budget or lifetime budget. What that means is you either spend daily a certain amount of money, or over the lifetime of the campaign, you can set a budget. I'm just going to leave it on daily budget because that's all it's going to allow me to do, but what I am going to do is change the budget from $20 a day to only $5 a day, and typically we spend about $30 per listing. So I'm going to run an ad for $5 a day for 6 days, I guess that comes out to. So underneath schedule, you can run my ad continuously starting today, but we want to have an end date. So I'm going to select set a start and end date. It's going to run starting today, and then I'm going to choose the end date to be within 6 days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be Monday the 22nd. And we can see that my ad will start running until, it'll run starting today until Monday the 22nd, and I'll spend about $25 total based on when this actually gets going. Once we've set that budget, what we can do when we scroll down a little bit, you're going to see that there is the optimization for ad delivery. You can choose between link clicks, impressions, or daily unique reach. What we're going to do is we're going to leave it as link clicks, but I'll just share with you what the other two are. So the other one, impressions, means that Facebook will deliver the ads to as many people as many times as possible, meaning that every time that person goes into Facebook, they're going to show that ad to that individual as many times as they can get away with. Daily unique reach means that they'll show that to individuals only once throughout the course of the day, right? What I encourage you is to leave it at link clicks. Let Facebook take care of the optimization there. They can look at the individual user behaviors and patterns to determine who are the best people and when is the right time and how many times should they put it in front of them to get that link click. All right? So from there, we can leave the bid amount to be automatic. When you get charged, I'm going to leave it as link click, but the other options are to change it to impression. Let's say you didn't want to spend $5 a day and you only wanted to spend $2 a day. I'll go up here and change my budget to $2 a day. Notice that it throws a flag saying the minimum budget required is $5. You can change that because that's not saying that you have to spend that much daily on Facebook. What it's saying is that's what it wants to charge you is a minimum of $5. So you can change it to when you get charged based on an impression. And if you look back up at the top here, you'll notice that that flag went away, meaning it'll allow me to spend as little as $2 a day. Actually, it'll let me spend as little as $1 a day. But I'm going to change it back to 5 and leave it as link clicks. Okay. Ad scheduling. You can allow the ads to run all the time. Another option is to have them run on a schedule. If you're going to have them run on a schedule, you have to use the lifetime budget option. So recall at the top where I set the daily budget, the budget type to daily budget for $5 a day. If you want to be able to run ads on a schedule, meaning that they only run on certain days and certain times during certain days, what you'll have to do is change it to the lifetime budget. But that's not, I want people to see this because of the type of ad that it is, anytime at all times a day when they're on Facebook. When might you want to use a schedule? Well, let's say you were marketing an offer that required that people pick up the phone, or that you were at your place of business because they were going to walk in for a consultation. If you were going to market that type of offer, of course you would need to want to be able to answer the phone or be at your place of business, so you might limit it to those times a day. For this type of ad where we're just trying to promote a website click, no need for us to limit that. Delivery type then, you have standard, which is to show your ads throughout the day, or accelerated means that over the course of the day, with the budget that you have, that it'll try and spend the money as quickly as possible from the beginning of the day. I'm going to encourage you to use standard over the course of the day. I can't think of any reason off the top of my head why you would use the accelerated one right now. Scroll down a little bit and it says that we want to give this ad set a name. I'm going to use the same naming structure for the campaign, but I'm just going to qualify who the audience is. So I have here that this is GLR Clicks, just listed 3521 Marseille Court. Now remember, that's the campaign name. And then I'm just going to add a little distinction so that I know who this is getting in front of, and that will be the name of this ad set. So we'll just call it buyers. Okay. From here, I'm going to click on continue. And now what it's going to do is have me select and set up and make the creative. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways of doing this. But first, if this is the first time that you're doing it, we're going to keep it really simple. So we're going to create an ad using a format of the single image or video in our ads. Now you notice here where it says there's two options. You can do a single image or video in your ads, or you can have multiple images and video in one ad. I'll show you how to do both, but let's start with a single image or video in your ad. So leave that one selected. We're going to come down and we get to choose between images, a slideshow, meaning we can upload multiple images and then Facebook will automatically create a slideshow, or if you have a video that you would like to upload. We're going to select images for this one. Now what I've got to do is upload an image that I would like for this property by clicking on that plus sign for upload images. And then I have on my desktop here here we go, we'll use this one. And so this is one of the images from this listing on Marseille Court. I think I pulled this image right there, and that's the one that I'm going to use for this first ad. We can crop it just by clicking on the image, and then see we can adjust the crop. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of that blue sky. There we go. Click on done. You could also, let me go back there, crop it specifically for Instagram. Okay. So that's the crop for Instagram. Remember, we're having automatic placements, meaning that it will show up in Instagram. I just wanted to optimize the images for Instagram. Okay, let's see here. As we scroll down, what we're going to do is we need to make sure our Facebook page is connected to it. Why do you need your Facebook page connected to it? This allows you to run a news feed ad, meaning it'll show up in a Facebook user's news feed. If you don't have a Facebook business page connected to it, you're not going to be able to run a newsfeed ad. It'll only show up as a right column ad. And then we're going to connect our Instagram account, so that also we'll be using that for when people see the placement in Instagram. So we've got our Facebook business page connected, and as well as our Instagram account. Scrolling down, by the way, you can start to see a preview of the ad on the right side. So notice the preview here. We're going to be changing a lot of the information here, but you can see that's what it would look like on the desktop. Here's what it looks like on the mobile feed. Here's what it looks like in the right column ad. Here's what it'll look like in Instagram. And here's what it'll look like for the audience network. The audience network, by the way, just a refresher, it's apps and publishers who have an agreement with Facebook to run advertisements, our advertisements, on their websites and in their apps. All right, so back over to creating the creative here. Once we've selected the once we've connected our business page, once we've connected our Instagram account. If you don't have an Instagram account, don't worry, just don't connect it if you don't have one. And you can actually use your Facebook business page as an option that you can also use if you don't have an Instagram account, but you would still like to run Instagram ads. So then we have to select the destination URL that we want people to go to when they click on the ad. So let me just go get the URL from my property landing page. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it right in here. Okay. Now that I've added the destination URL, we can add a headline. And I'm going to borrow from my property description or from my property landing page here some of the information that I have to create the advertisement. So for the headline, by default, it's going to start pulling stuff in from that property landing page, but we're going to start changing this. We're going to call it single story modern instead of two bed. I think modern home in heart of Austin 78704. And then for the text, what I'm going to do is say gorgeous. We'll just copy the first. By the way, I guess I should just explain. The text is what's going to show up above the image of the ad. All right, so let me go ahead and grab some cool text here. Gorgeous. We're just going to grab some of the information from the first paragraph here, and we'll drop that right there. So paste that. Looks like kind of a lot. So I'm going to delete some of that information. And that looks like it'd be about right. Gorgeous modern home, modern single-story home near South First in the heart of 78704. Open concept area with island kitchen and loads of upgrades. Okay. Now you can see this Facebook is working to generate a preview. It'll keep working on it until it's able to update that preview, but we're going to keep moving along to create the ad. The next step is to create what we refer to as a call to action. The call to action button is a little button that shows up in the bottom right corner of your advertisement. You've got options from no button, to apply now, to contact us, to donate now, to download. Because what we're doing is to entice people to learn more about this listing, we're going to leave it as the learn more option. Now you can see it's been working on updating that, so it looks good. Then the news feed link description is what shows up below the headline of the ad. So again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy some of this information from my property landing page and just paste that into the news feed link description. Okay. The display link is the URL that's going to show up at the bottom of the advertisement. By default, it's going to pull in the domain that's associated with the website URL. Now I'm looking over here at the ad and the preview generator. It looks like they're making some changes to it because it's working a little bit slow and it's not updating all the components to it, but that's okay. We'll be able to, after we've created this ad, we'll be able to look at it in another window to make sure it looks right. So the display link, if you want it to look like something different than what's going to show up, see where it says display URL? By default, like I said, the preview is not generating correctly right now. But when you're creating this on your own right now, if you were to do it, I'm sure it will work fine, and you'll see that it takes the root domain, i.e. in this case, chrisscott.online, and places it there. If you're not sure, you just want to add it anyway, you can feel free to add it. URL parameters we're not going to use. Pixel tracking we're not going to use because of the type of ad of using the objective of website clicks. So from here, what we can do is we've created the ad creative for our advertisement. Technically we're done, but we're not all the way done because I want to make a couple important points, and I also want to show you how to create some of the other ad types that are available to us. So what I want to do though is I'm going to come over here, and to make sure that we save this ad, we're going to click on Save to Draft at the bottom right-hand corner. It's going to pop up a screen to review and verify. Oh, I forgot to name the ad, so let me come over here and give a name to the ad. I'm just going to copy and paste the ad set name into there, but I'm going to add a little more of a distinction by saying this is for Good Life Realty. The objective is clicks. It's a just listed campaign for 3521 Marseille Court. It's targeted towards buyers, and this is image 1, meaning that we used one of the images from the, it's a single image, and that it's the first version of that single image ad. So I'm just going to click on Save to Draft. And now what it's done is it's created the campaign, the ad set, and the ad. After I clicked Save to Draft, what it did is it opened up the campaign view. So on the on the left-hand side of my screen, you'll see that you can move between campaigns, ad sets, and ads. In order to limit the view, because I want to really just keep working in this particular campaign, I'm going to select that campaign that we just created, and I'm going to apply a filter. So that's the only one that I have to look at, so I don't get confused as I go into the other ad sets and create different ads. So we just click on Apply. And what that's going to do is, as I move throughout the different views of ad sets and ads, I will only see the ones associated with this particular campaign. So I'm going to park it right now under ads. And if you wanted to review what you created, just click on it. You have to zoom out a little bit so you can see this little pen, which allows you to edit the ad. You click on that and it'll pull it up. And you'll be able to see all the information that you put on the ad. And I've noticed this preview generator is working in this view. For some reason, the other view, they're still working on tweaks to it, but you can look at what it would look like in the mobile news feed. You can see what it would look like in the desktop news feed just by clicking at the top where the preview is. The Instagram placement's showing up, so you can see what the preview of the Instagram ad looks like, and you can see what it would look like in all those different destinations. So this was the first variation of the first ad that we created in the ad set within this campaign. Now I'm going to talk to you now very quickly about a very important function within Facebook ads that if you don't do this, you're really not doing yourself a good service. So what's critical when using Facebook ads is to create variations of the same content so that you can find out which one has a better response. What I have found is using different images, different headlines are going to oftentimes have a much greater response with people. The problem is you just don't know which one is going to have that response. The only way to do it is to create variations of your ad, change the image, change the creative, and put it out there. I have seen my ad costs go down in half. I've seen them go down by 75% just by creating a handful of variations. I like to create at least 3. You'll see that oftentimes I'll create 4 or 5, and then I'll go through. And the great thing about creating all the variations is that Facebook will optimize, split test and optimize, and use the ones that are performing best. So to create ad variations, super easy. All right, so let me show you how easy it is here once we've created that first ad. So looking at my screen here, because I'm in that ads view, right? Remember, you can look at the campaign, and we filtered out only to see the stuff associated with this particular campaign. The ad set, this is that buyer's ad set that I created, and then I've got the ad in that ad set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this ad, so you can just make sure that it's checked off, and then in the top, sort of towards the top in the middle, you'll see this button that has a plus sign in a box, and when you roll over it, it'll say duplicate. So you can just click on duplicate, keep it in the same campaign, click on create. But notice what it's done is it's created an exact copy of that first ad. The only thing that it's done is it just named it something different. So let's go into the ad and start making changes to it. So that one's checked. The new one that was copied is checked. So let me open it up for editing. I'm going to rename it because I don't want it just to say copy. We're going to use a second image. So instead of saying image 1, we're going to say image 2. And now what I'm going to do is everything else is going to stay the same. The only thing that's going to be different is I'm going to change the image. This is going to split test the images. because in this ad set, I would have two ads. Everything's the same except for different images. We're going to find out which one works better in the audience. So I'm just going to click on Change Image. And because I've been working on this ad, I don't have to upload a new one. I have other ones in here. So let me go ahead. I think I'm going to choose the image of the, let's see, which one looks more impressive here. I like that kitchen. I think I'm going to put that kitchen there. All right, so I chose the image. Let me just do a quick crop and bring that down. Let's do the Instagram crop. We'll do square. Okay. And now what we have is a, let's see if we can get the preview to work again here. Looks like they're making some updates to it. I think the Instagram one was working good. Well, what we've done effectively is built an entirely new advertisement using the duplicate feature and just quickly changing out the image. So now we've got two different ads, and how long did that take? It took just a minute to be able to create that additional ad. Now what I'm going to show you how to do next is how to build some additional ad types. Come on, Facebook, Power Editor. All right, so it's not generating the preview, but what happened once the preview is starting to function again, is that it'll have exact same ad just with this new image in it. Okay, so let me close out of there because I want to show you how to create yet another variation, but this time we're going to try it using some of the other features that are included in it. So let me go back and we're going to duplicate that first ad again. So just click on it. I'm going to click on duplicate. We're going to keep it in the same campaign, so it's going to keep it all in the same ad set. And then what we're going to do is, instead of having this to be an image, we're going to call this multi-one. And the reason we're going to call this multi-one is, instead of using an ad with a single image or video, which remember is what we did first, we're going to use the ad with multiple images or videos in a carousel. It's recommended because what I have found, and what Facebook must be finding, is that people respond really well to the multi-image ads. So let's click on multi-image. And it's going, because we're copying and pasting, or because we've duplicated the ad, a lot of the information is going to carry over, which is nice. Makes it very convenient for us. All right, but we do have to change a couple of things. What we want to do is we have to work with this concept called cards. So within a multi-image ad, you have multiple images. Each image has you can have a different image, a different headline, and even a different URL when they clicked on it if you would want to, or a different call to action. So here you can see the preview of a multi-image. Let me just zoom out. Notice this is the multi-image ad in Instagram. You'd be able to scroll through the different images. But each one of these images represents a different card, but we've got to select and specify which images we want to use for that card. So we're going to work in image one first, card one first, which will allow us to place an image, a headline associated with it. Yep, now that preview window is working. So now, notice for this type of ad on the desktop, there are different images. There's a headline, there's a call to action button, and each one of these, although the images look the same and the headlines all look the same right now, we're going to change each one of these. So I'm going to work in card one first. So we select the card that we want to work with. We click on one. We're going to go in and select an image. We're going to work with that last image that we uploaded right there. We can crop that image. Okay. And then we're going to come down. The destination URL is going to stay the same because we're taking them to that property landing page. The display URL, like I said, is going to use the chrisscott.online. The headline, now is where we're going to get creative. The headline we're going to borrow from here, but we're going to have a different headline under each card. So headline, I'm going to copy and, we're going to copy and paste. The description is doesn't show up in all the ad types, but it does show up, I believe, on the Instagram placement. So for the description on the first section, I'm just going to copy from here, put it right there. Creative optimization, we're going to leave that checked. What that does is it will automatically show the best performing image or card first. So it's going to sort it based on what is generating the best results and organize it that way. the See More display URL. Takes them to our website. Call to action button, I'm going to leave Learn More. And what we've done is we've updated the first card. Now we still have to work with additional cards because we only created that one. And the whole point is having multiple images in a carousel view, meaning they can slide through the different images, right? So we've added one. By default, it's pulling this other one, but we're going to go in and select the second card. So we're going to manage the second card and make updates to the second card. So I've clicked on the second card there. Now we're going to go through, we're going to specify the image again. In this case, I'm going to choose the the outdoor patio area. And let's crop that just to make sure it looks good. Okay. Now I can choose a different headline. Let me go back over to the property landing page, and I saw that there was some, there we go. So entertaining, oh, I know what I want to do. We're going to put awesome outdoor living as the headline, and then what I just copied, we're going to put that in the link description. Awesome Austin outdoor living. All right, so we've got headline, description, and then pretty much all this other stuff is going to stay the same. So we've created the second card, and I'm going to be moving throughout the different previews to see if one of these works. And eventually, we'll eventually be able to come back and verify this. It'll probably be working for you when you create it. It's just not working for me right now, but that's all right. We'll be able to verify the ads that we created after we've uploaded this campaign, and we can take a look at it in the ads manager. So I still have one more card that I want to work with. By the way, you can add additional cards. You can just click on this plus sign and it'll add additional cards. You can also click on it and remove it just by doing what I did right there. You click on the card and there's that remove button. So we still want to work within the third card. We're going to select an image. And in this case, I'm going to specify that I do want to select that kitchen and have that kitchen view. Let's crop that kitchen. Actually, it was looking good the way it was, so we'll put it back there. And then we're going to add a headline and description for that headline below it. So let me go over here, and that was about the kitchen. So I think what I'll do is we'll say loads of, what do I want to say? Where was the kitchen stuff? Let's see. I want to be able to say something cool about this. But something that's, oh, that's what we'll do. So I'm going to copy that sentence, drop that here. So what I've done is I just put in a headline for loads of upgrades, and under the description that'll show up below that is open concept living area with island kitchen design. Now right now the preview pane is going through some updates, so it's not showing, but that's all right. Like I said, we'll be able to come back and verify it. But what we've already done, by the way, even though you can't see the preview, let me close out of it, we've just created a multi-image ad. So now we have 3 variations. Let me show you another cool thing that you can do, and then I'm going to upload this and we'll take a look at all of these ads. So I'm going to duplicate this one more time. I'm going to duplicate that first one. So I've checked it, I click on duplicate, we're going to keep it in the same campaign. Now what we're going to do is make a slideshow. So I'm going to change the name of this from image 1 to slides 1. Scroll down, and we're going to leave this as an image with a video. Oops. But here, where it says it's selected for image, we're going to select the radio button next to it that says video slideshow. Now if you had a video you wanted to upload, you could upload it here. Note that you have a 60-second max, basically a 60-second length. If you want your video to show up on Instagram, it can't be any longer than 60 seconds. On Facebook, you can have your videos be as long as 60 minutes. But because I would like my videos to get placed in both of them, I would try and keep it to 60 seconds. Now, but we're not going to use the video. We're going to actually create a slideshow with the photos of the listing that we have. So I just clicked on slideshow. We're going to keep the aspect ratio the same. Image duration, I'm going to make it, let's go with 2 seconds. I'm going to use a transition fade. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to add some photos to this I've got a bunch selected, so I can just go through here, select photos associated with this listing. Let's make sure I'm not duplicating any of them. That looks about right. Okay, click confirm. Now what it's going to do is it's going to load all of those. Oh, you even have a feature for music. I've been using the Good Memories tune. Let me see. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that, but so what that does is it plays a little music, scrolls through the photos. There's a nice little fade with the transition, and this will create a cool video. This one is going to be 14 seconds in length. So to finish it, just click on Create Slideshow, and what will happen is Facebook will convert those slides and that music into an actual video, upload it to Facebook, and now you'll be able to use that in your advertisements. So we'll just give it a second here while it's uploading that. I don't want to interrupt the pattern. Most likely it's not going to work in the preview pane just because we've been experiencing some issues, but once I've finished this step, I'm going to upload the changes. I'm going to show you how to upload and review the changes, and then we're going to go back into Ads Manager just to verify that those ads were created and what they look like. Now, what's an important thing to note here while this is uploading is that we now have four different versions of creative within this ad set, right? So we have 4 different versions of this campaign. Very powerful, because now Facebook is going to figure out which one's working better, which one is getting a better response, and it'll favor the ad that's getting the better response. Who knows? Maybe it's that slideshow that we just created. Maybe it's going to be the multi-image or the carousel ad that we created. Or maybe it's one of the ads where it has just the image, and that one's going to work best. We don't know until we run the ad and find out. It's really a combination of creativity and testing. So utilize your creativity here, but have the persistence in testing to find out which one is going to work best. You'll find over time that you'll get a sense of which one's working better, but I'm always surprised at which one, and I shouldn't say always. More often than not, I'm surprised at which ads or which creative gets the better response. You know, sometimes it'll be a picture of the kitchen, sometimes it'll be a picture of the front of the house, sometimes it's the backyard. You just don't know until you put it out there and see what kind of response that people are going to have when they're looking at that ad. So it's finished uploading the video. You can see that it is ready to go, and it's even created for us a preview of it, which you can see off to the left, or excuse me, the right-hand side. If you clicked on play, it would actually run. All right. We won't listen to that whole song again. They actually have some pretty funny songs in there. There's some country, some like bluegrass, I think. All right, so now we've created these 4 different versions of this ad, of this creative, and it's all existing in this ad set, and it's all built in this campaign. A quick way, if you wanted to also target home sellers with all of the information that we just put together in the specific zip code that this home is in, why would you want to do that? You would want to let home sellers know that you are the one who does business in their area and that you sell homes in their area. We can also duplicate the ad set because it contains all those ads in there. We can just go in, duplicate the ad set. We just go to the ad set, right? So I'm in the campaign level. I'm going to move into the ad set level, and then I'm going to select the ad set, right? So that's the one that we created. Remember, this is the one for buyers, and then I can duplicate it just by clicking the duplicate button. And we're going to keep it in the same campaign. Now what's going to happen is that it's going to say buyers copy, but we're going to change this to sellers. And the only difference I'm going to make is, remember I mentioned that demographic about about homeowners. So I'm going to come in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the income demographic, because I'm actually more concerned whether or not they own a home, not whether or not they can afford what their income is, because they already own the home. So I'm going to delete that demographic. Okay, just took a second. I was thinking there. So I removed that income category. So we want to keep them likely to move because I want to target homeowners who are considered likely to move. But we're going to do a further drill down. We're going to narrow the audience again, but we're just going to zero in on homeowners. All right, so then I can come in here and we're going to add the homeowner behavior, or excuse me, homeowner demographic. All right, so now we just got to add, I believe that was a demographic. Let me just double check. I could be, actually I think it might have been, well, we'll find out here in a second. I guess the easiest way would just be to type in homeowner. All right, so I started typing homeowner, and we see that there's a couple different kinds. Make sure we choose the one that's demographics, homeowners, and off to the right side where it says demographics, I'm going to choose that. And what that's going to do is it'll place this ad by selecting people who are likely to move, and so this is adding criteria that they are in the demographic of being a homeowner, so they own a home. And while that's selecting, it's just taking a little bit of time, but it's going to update the estimated daily reach. And so it updated that estimated reach to 17,000 people who are likely to move, have homes in this area. So what I've done is I've created then a new ad set that has all of those same ads that we created in the previous ad set. So now I don't have to go through and create new ads unless I want to create different ads specifically for homeowners, or what I'm trying, I can leverage the same campaign to get in front of home buyers. And if I choose also homeowners, I would probably narrow down the geographic area, not to be all of Austin though, and just zero in on the zip code or sort of that neighborhood in that area. I'm not going to do that now because I notice Power Editor is moving a little bit slow for me, but you could, what I would recommend if you're going to target home sellers is to go back and then just change the geographic area from, I think I had Austin plus 25 miles, maybe down to the zip code or the surrounding zip codes of that listing. That would make most sense for you to market to home owners in those areas who are likely to move. I have one last step that I want to be able to do just as a little cleanup that because I duplicated that ad set, I just need to go through those new ads that were duplicated in the home seller category and just update the names so that I'm not confused later on when I see that it says that they're home buyers when they are in fact targeting the home seller group. So how would I do that? Well, I go into the ads and you can see when I duplicated that ad set, all these new ads were created. So in order for me to know which one's which, I can just scroll over a little bit here. I'm going to be doing some zooming in. All right, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm modifying the right ad set. What I want to do is make sure I'm modifying the right ad set by confirming the ad set name. So this is taking a little bit to scroll, but that's okay. So now the top, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the new ads that were created. I can verify by looking on the right-hand side that I can see what the ad set name is, and that was the new ad set that I created. And I can tell that because it says everything, and the distinction is different because it says sellers instead of buyers when we created that naming convention. So now I can come back over here and edit just the name of those new ads so that it's going to be consistent with the ad set that it's in. So let me just unselect these guys, and then I can go into these individually and change the name just by clicking on the little pen next to it. And what that's going to do is open it up for change, and I just need to modify the name so that it reflects that this is in the seller's ad set. All right, so I have now edited and updated the individual ad names to make sure that they reflected that they were in that ad set for sellers. So now I have one campaign, two ad sets, one targeting home buyers, the other one targeting home sellers, potential home sellers, and then a total of 8 different ads. There's 4 ads in each ad set. And now that we've done all of this work, And note how easy it was to create those additional ad sets and those additional ads once we created the first one. Now I'm ready to upload that to Facebook and have it review and start running those ads. There's one final step. These ads aren't going to run until we review the changes and activate them, and they will be submitted to Facebook, and they're going to have to approve the ads, which could take, a couple hours. Up to the first time you do it might take a couple of hours. If you have long video in there, it might take a little bit of time. Usually they're pretty quick, but they do take a little bit of time to review. So to complete the process, in the top right hand corner, we're going to click on Review Changes. And that will pull up a sort of review window for us to take a look at and confirm. So we want to apply all these changes. We're going to click on Continue, and it's going to start uploading those changes to Power Editor. And what we can do is, once that it says it's complete, there's a way to verify this. We'll go back into Ads Manager, and then we're going to be able to take a look and see the ads that we've created, and you'll be able to get a real-time view of Ads Manager. One of the great things about Ads Manager is that it's a good reporting tool. It's also a good verification tool to make sure the work that we were doing in Power Editor is being adequately reflected in Ads Manager. Now, I go in Ads Manager pretty frequently just to check in on the status of a campaign and see how well it's doing. It's easier to use the reporting views in Ads Manager. Ads Manager is a great reporting tool. Power Editor is a much better creation tool. So it looks like it's just about done here in applying the changes. And it has confirmed that the changes were made. It says changes complete. Let me zoom out of that. Click on Done. And now we've successfully created our just listed campaign. Now when people see those ads and they click on them, they're going to be brought to that property landing page. Now, I mentioned we wanted to verify what was taking place and whether those uploads happened. So I'm just going to go over, now that we've uploaded to Facebook Ads the campaign that we just built, I can go back over to Ads Manager. Now that Ads Manager is loaded, we can see that campaign that we just created, GLR Clicks Just Listed, 3521 Marseille Court. So let's click into it so we can see the two different ad sets that we built. So there's the one for, let me expand that. There's the seller one, there's the buyer one. And then within these, if you were to click on that, it'll show you the individual ads. So you can see that there's two active, there's still pending review. That's probably that which one is that one? That's probably the multi-image one. Yeah, the multi-image one, and then probably the slideshow, those two. The multi-images and the slideshows take a little bit longer to review, but I'm sure they'll be up soon. Then you can also verify what it looks like by clicking on the ad, and then on the right side you can see where it says preview. You click on the preview and it'll pull up a full preview pane of what we create, and you can see all the details that we added there are right. You can also scroll through and look at the different formats and how it's going to appear in each one of those formats. One of the cool things that you can do as well, if you scroll down, and you can see that you can share this with other people as well. So you can share this ad if you wanted to share this with your customers, with your home sellers, so that they could see it. You can just click on Share Ad, and then you'll get a link to be able to share with your customers. So it makes it pretty easy, pretty cool feature for sharing it. And so that concludes this section on how to set up and run a just listed campaign in Facebook ads. Remember, you can also use this if you're doing coming soon campaigns, or if you want to do a recently sold campaign. This format that we've walked you through is going to help you one, have that property landing page where people can learn more about it, and then use Facebook ads to bring those people who are in the market to work with us to that property landing page. And therefore taking better care of our sellers by getting more exposure to their listing, to their property in the marketplace, and then doing ourselves a service as well by letting everybody in the market know that we're the ones who do business in that local area.